All right, thank you to everybody that's joined us. Obviously, this is a big week, rivalry week. Postponed from the first week of the season all the way to the last. Certainly, our kids understand how important this football game is, and this rivalry, and how important it is to everybody. Either connected to our program or connected to Virginia Tech. So we've also got Senior Day coming up, kind of a unique scenario with some of all of those seniors available to come back if they'd like. But should be a fantastic day or night, I guess I should say. We'll need a great week of practice. Virginia's kind of on a roll here, playing really well in all three phases of the game. And had a big victory against Boston College last week, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
Andy, you want to start?
Yeah, Justin, when we talked to you after the game, it was pretty short afterwards. I'm not sure how much an update you had on Hendon's situation. Have you gotten more clarity on kind of what was going on with him on the sideline during that whole ordeal?
Oh, I mean, not a lot. Other than, he's obviously having some issues with his temperature. He was fine yesterday, fine there after the game. So, I don't know. I've never seen that. I don't know that our medical staff has seen an issue like that. We'll try and do everything we can to take care of him moving forward. Obviously, I would anticipate this Saturday night will be chilly. So, and we've got to look at whatever we can look at to. It's a guy that obviously had some issues with being cold, so we've got to find ways that we can help that out.
And Braxton left that game. Is he doing better? And do you anticipate all those quarterbacks being available? And how do you kind of sort that out this week?
Well, I don't know yet. I mean, Braxton ran and worked out yesterday, so I would anticipate that he'll be fine. I don't know. We'll know more this evening in our staff meeting.
And lastly, you haven't had very big senior classes the last couple of years. This one's a little bit larger. Also, some of the first guys that you signed when you got here, does this one have some meaning to you with some of these guys that have been here for the last 4 or 5 years?
Well, they all have meaning, and they're all special, and we try our best to have a positive influence on these kids as they come through the program and have them have as positive an experience going to school at Virginia Tech, and hope that we've helped them along the way. So we've got a great group of kids, not just seniors, but on down through the classes that I enjoy coming to work with every single day. They've been an incredible example of hard work and diligence and teamwork and showing up every single day to try and do their best. So I've got strong feelings about these guys and the rest of the guys on our team.
Mike Nisley.
Yeah, Justin, do you know if any seniors have already decided to return or are not participating in Senior Day, or do you expect all the seniors to participate?
Oh, I mean, I think we got a couple that definitely will come back. We've got a couple that won't, and then we've got some guys that are going to worry about it when the season's over with. I've had a couple discussions. How we'll handle that in conjunction with Senior Day, I haven't really spent much time on yet, Mike. They're all welcome to go through it and welcome to come back. So I don't know that it'll be like whoever goes through Senior Day is definitely not returning type of deal. You know what I mean? We've had a couple discussions with guys, about their long-term plans and that sort of stuff. So.
Anybody names you could share that aren't planning on coming back or not coming back?
Oh, I don't want to paint them I don't want to, they got chances to change their mind and go back and forth and all that kind of stuff. So we don't need to go down that road just yet.
Who was your emergency quarterback on Saturday? Will you have like a walk-on dress in case for Virginia? I mean, what was kind of the plan? You got to Knox, and then didn't have anybody else available, I mean, who would step in if Knox got hurt on Saturday?
Well, I mean, we had that discussion on the headphones. I mean, the guy that I'm going to tell you doesn't know that he's the emergency quarterback, so we did never broach it with him. But, I mean, if it would have gotten to that Saturday, I mean, we probably would have put James back there and just had him hand the ball off. I mean, we would have been past the point of of being able to conduct a football game. So, you know, we'll talk about it this week. If you know, hopefully it doesn't get to that, but those are conversations you have to have.
You'd have to consider. Would you consider then just dressing a walk-on then, or how would that work to change it just in case?
I mean, we would consider a lot of things. That's what I would say. I mean, you know, we're a long ways away from making decisions on who's dressing and who's not dressing for this week. But depending on who's available, that certainly could affect who we call up to dress.
Mike Barber.
Yeah, Justin, they've had guys in and out of the defensive lineup with injuries here at the end of the year. What do you see from that unit, and have they changed kind of what they're doing, or are they just playing their defense with different bodies?
Well, I mean, I would say that they've always been a versatile defensive scheme. Like having gone up against Nick and Bronco for years and years and years, obviously well before Virginia Tech. I mean, their 50 defense, you know, they've had elements of 4 down in it. They've always distorted or changed coverages in the back end to fit what they're trying to do. So, I mean, there's always been an element of versatility in it to begin with. You know, they have, you know, in the past as well, along with this year, had a personnel group or two that they've gone to, a little bit like an offense might, in order to get their best people on the field. So I see them as always being, or they have always been able to kind of, whether they wanted to or not, go with the flow personnel-wise, because they've always been pretty flexible on the defensive side.
Their quarterback appears to be playing well and really kind of coming on down the stretch. What have you seen from him?
Oh, he's a really good player now. Like, I mean, when, you know, I've heard people talk about Steve Young and the comparisons, and I think that's just because I think that's partially because he's left-handed. But the guy that I see is Taysom Hill, who was at BYU and is now with the Saints. I mean, a guy that can run and throw, and you know, Brennan played special teams and stuff last year. I mean, this is a versatile, tough, hard-nosed kid that is working himself into being a really good quarterback. Throws the ball really well. You know, is a big, strong kid and runs physically. You know, I mean, he's not a. I mean, he's a tough, hard-nosed player back there.
And one more, and I know it's hard to answer big-picture questions when you're preparing for a specific game, but taking aside wins and losses this year, it's been such a crazy year. How do you feel about where your program is right now?
Well, I mean, you ask somebody how they feel about how things are going when we've lost 2 heartbreakers, and then then didn't play very well on the road, and then came home against the number 3 team in the country and are right in the middle of the game, and then had some of the weirdest events I've ever seen occur. So, I mean, there's a little bit of context in how you feel, right? But the bottom line is I love what we're teaching and what they're retaining and where we're going. So, you know, I can't sit here and tell you that I feel awesome because of the short-term results that we've gotten, but in the long-term direction and where we're going, and you know how our kids are performing on a daily basis in the classroom, in the community. I mean, our grades are better than they've ever been. Our kids are doing, you know, working incredibly hard in the weight room as we go through this whole transition, and we're still lifting in the indoor, so on and so forth. So I couldn't feel better about, you know, where we're going and where we're headed, even though we're right here in the middle of a tough stretch.
Thank you.
Justin, you went with Zachariah Hoyt at center late on Saturday. Do you anticipate keeping him with the ones, or will you go back to Brock?
No, I'll give Brock an opportunity to get back in there and go. You know, like we've got to play smart football, though. Brock knows that, so I'm not. You know, I grabbed him after the game. I said, "Do you understand why?" And I said, "I'm not asking you if you like it. I'm asking you if you understand why." And he said, "Yes, sir." So, I mean, we'll move forward from that. Brock has been fantastic in terms of preparing, in terms of communication, in terms of effort, but we've got to play the game the right way.
If I had told you in late August, early September, that Virginia Tech would be on track to play all 11 games and the ACC would be on track to play 87 of 90 games, you would have said to me what?
No way. Impossible. I mean, when I called Bronco and we canceled or moved back the first game, like we just shared a moment of, can you imagine making it till mid-December doing this? And it seemed like it was years away. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like just a thought of what everybody, not Virginia Tech, but everybody was dealing with in early September, really from the summertime on. And you've seen it kind of really, and some teams have been incredibly, I don't know if fortunate's the right word, but done an incredible job. But most teams have gone through it, whether it's in the summer and nobody ever knew about it, or whether it was early in the season or in the middle of the season. But to make it all the way through has been a long, arduous journey, to say the least.
To what do you attribute that? How did it happen?
Well, I mean, I think the credit really goes to the kids. I mean, there's a genuine hunger for all the things that's written, talked about in college football. There's a genuine hunger for these kids to get to play football, and they actually, I think they do enjoy it. Now, there's a lot that comes with this sport that's very difficult, but I think through all of the things that have come about during this season that have made it incredibly difficult, I think we can all agree that the kids would like to play. And there's a large majority of them that enjoy trying to play football.
Norm? Justin, the situation with Hendon's body temperature notwithstanding, it seemed like after the first fumbled snap that there might have been an issue just in terms of mindset or frame of mind in that game with Hendon. Did you have a discussion with him about where you felt like he was sort of mentally in that game or on Sunday, and if so, what was the response?
I think the biggest deal was like I said after the game, the plan was like, Hendon, we're going to pull you out for one series, and we're going to let Braxton go, and we're going to put you back in. And then Braxton went in and drove down the field and scored, so we stuck with Braxton. So, I mean, there was an element of, we broke the huddle with 25 seconds left on the play clock or something in there, Norm, like, which was not the plan, and then we dropped a snap, and so, our deal was, we're going to get you calmed down and get you focused and ready to go play.
Did you get a better feel also for Darisaw and Janzi and what you see from them prognosis-wise the rest of the week? Or?
Yeah, I mean, all I can tell you is what CD tells me every single time, which is, CD, are you okay? Yes, sir. So I don't know if I have a better feel than I always did. He played a whole season on one foot. He missed, is it one game or this year? I would anticipate that it'd take a lot to keep him out of this game. I don't want to speak for him. Silas, I feel the same way about. So if they're able to go, they're going to go. I don't know any more than I really knew beforehand on if they will be able to, other than, they're incredibly positive whenever I see them.
Gene,
Yeah, Justin, in a season where hardly anything's been normal, does it feel at all approximating normal that you're playing Virginia, final game of the season, kind of how it's been, for a long, long time?
No. It still doesn't feel anything close to normal. I mean, we're still, still every day, just a battle. And I'm incredibly proud of everybody that's involved with this program to continue to battle day in and day out to try and pull this season off. And there's a myriad of reasons to play this. First of all, the players genuinely want to play. There's a financial component to all of this that benefits other sports, that benefits athletic departments across the board that we understand. But no, there hasn't been much that's felt normal. I'm all out of whack with the dates, and we're in the mid second week of December and trying to figure out, usually the season's been over now and you're on the road recruiting and all that sort of stuff. So it's a little bit out of whack.
And one more on Virginia's defense, if I could. They've had some injuries. Charles Snowden out, obviously. What do you see from that unit, especially with that impactful player like Charles?
Well, he is a special football player and a perfect fit for what they do on the defensive side of the ball. He being Bronco has a long history of those overhang outside linebackers being long, athletic guys, and he's a perfect fit for that. And certainly you don't go on without missing a player of that caliber. But what they have done is played multiple people throughout the season and throughout the last couple years. I mean, they do rotate some guys in there. So, when they do have to move people around or they do have to sub people in for guys that are out, it's usually somebody that's played a little bit. So, they haven't missed much. I know his leadership and the playmaking ability is certainly worth quite a bit to them, but they've played with the same level of intensity and execution that they have really all season.
Jermaine,
Coach, just want to ask from your perspective, what makes Rivalry Week so special?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing is just the passion, people care, people on both sides care about the outcome and care about the results. And, I think for us, it's about competition. I think if you're a true competitor, you're not afraid to put yourself in the arena and lay it on the line, do your best to prepare, and go put yourself out there for everyone to see, risk success and risk failure. And that's what being a competitor is all about. So we love the competitive part of it, and I think the passion from both fan bases is pretty evident.
Derek,
Coach, you talked about the versatility with Brennan Armstrong there at quarterback. That's its own challenge for your defense, for sure. But how much more difficult is it when they throw in trick plays and things when they have a guy like Keaton Thompson come in and line up differently, giving different looks?
Yeah, I mean, they have always been multiple in terms of formation motion shifts, but, they've got two quarterbacks in the game. They've kind of taken that to another level in terms of him, whether it's trick plays or going in motion and sliding underneath the center and running quarterback sneak on 3rd and 1 and so on and so forth. So, they've done a good job capitalizing on those guys. It certainly causes you a little bit of pause when there's more than one person that can throw the ball down the field. And, when you've got guys on the outside that can throw the ball and guys on the inside meaning your quarterback that can run the ball, it adds a whole new level of intrigue to what you're capable of.
Hank?
Hey, Justin, you guys are kind of going in opposite directions right now, it seems like. Does the fact that it's a rivalry game kind of mitigate that a little bit and just kind of cause both teams to kind of refocus?
I mean, I don't know. I believe, previous outcomes have very little effect on future events. So I mean, this is a new game. This is we played Clemson last week, and they played Boston College, and hopefully we'll come out of that game healthy and ready for this one, and hopefully they did too. So I don't put much stock into that. I know both teams will be excited and ready to play, and it should be a heck of a competitive event.
How has this kind of tough spell for you guys affected the mentality of your guys?
Our guys have been great. Like I'm as proud of them as I have been of any group, and all that we've been through, and all that they're continuing to push through and try to do. And so we've had great work. I think our guys have been focused on improvement, and it's been really difficult to do that. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day. Just it was as difficult a situation as I've been in the middle of the season, knowing how much practice we needed, and also knowing how tired we really were. I wish I'd have maybe given them a little more time off, over the last couple weeks. Like we were a much faster football team this last Saturday than we were 2 weeks ago, and it's hard to weigh that when you need improvement. And I don't know. We always evaluate what we've done, and there's nothing to measure this season against in terms of what you've done previously. But the fact that our guys kept plugging through that, I thought was pretty admirable.
What kind of a relief for you will the end of Saturday night or early Sunday morning, the end of the regular season, be?
Well, COVID will still be here. So, like, if we can get that thing wiped out, then I'll be a lot more. There'll be a lot more relief, I think, on everybody's face. But the bottom line is we've got guys that are getting ready to go play their last game against Virginia, and we've got to do everything in our power to give them the opportunity to be successful and to try and win the game.
Thank you.
Time for a couple more guys. Aaron?
Hey, Justin, according to Pro Football Focus, they gave your pass coverage against Clemson the highest grade they've given your pass coverage all season. When you evaluated, would you agree with that? And does that go back to what you were talking about with playing fast and resting?
I don't know. Like, what does Pro Football Focus do? I hear people talk about it all the time. Like, what actually is that?
They grade every individual, and they grade your units as well. And they gave your pass defense a 74 against NC State. You hadn't had a one similar to that since. And they gave you a 7. I don't know if they grade on a curve because it's Trevor Lawrence, but they liked what you did.
I don't know. I thought we played faster. I thought I think there were a lot of factors at play. I thought that we were not. I don't know. I can't remember. Yesterday I knew the number. Today I cannot remember. But the number of plays we actually had to defend was really low. I think that contributed to it. I think that helped us, meaning the offense staying on the field and milking, particularly there in the first half, soaking up some of the clock, I think helped us play fast. I mean, there's no secret. We're not rotating very many guys in the back end. Okay, and we're rotating some guys on the defensive line, and we're playing with 3 linebackers, and we're not rotating very many guys in the secondary. So trying to keep those guys fresh so that they can go play fast, I thought was beneficial. And our kids played hard. Like they really did. They were probably fresher than they've been in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I thought we did an admirable job of trying to defend them.
Have any players told you they're playing not only for themselves but also for you? I mean, we know taking some heat, and I'm sure they know it. Have any of them told you, "Hey, coach, we're out here for you too"?
I don't want anybody to play for me. I want them to play for each other. Like I don't know, like it's like the term "I work for you." That I don't like that either. We work together, okay? And kids should play the game for each other. So they don't need to worry about me. You know, like we don't talk about any of that. Like let's go together, go compete. And so like we don't even go down the road of any of that. It's about a group of kids, you know, playing for each other, and it's about Divine Diablo and Jared Hewitt and the guys that have worked so hard, for this program. That's what this is all about. Like, there shouldn't be anything else we worry about or think about or talk about.
David de Guzman.
Coach, for the first time in a long time, Virginia Tech is trying to get the cup back. While I understand the approach of treating every game the same, when you consider the history of this rivalry and the context of competing in 2020, how does trying to get the cup back maybe change the dynamics of this week?
Well, we say every game's the same, but I mean, this is a rivalry game. I don't know that I've ever said it's just another week. It's certainly not. This is a game that's incredibly important to both sides, and we know we have our work cut out for us to go try and get that thing back. So we'll have to play incredibly sound and hard and smart in all three phases of the game to give ourselves a chance to go try and get that thing back.
One more, Alex.
Hey, Justin, I'm glad you mentioned a few of the offensive line, depth situation earlier, because I wanted to ask specifically about Brian and Doug. I know that there were big expectations coming into the season for them, but it seems like we haven't seen them a lot recently. How would you evaluate where they are, where they stand, and potentially getting back on the field, whether it is in your final game here or next year?
Yeah, I mean, Doug has been hurt, and I do think he'll be good to go this week. Brian has been improving, maybe the most improved guy from the start of the season to the end of the season. And actually, the last couple weeks, not counting the Clemson game, but the couple weeks before that was getting more and more playing time. I think both those guys are really talented and good workers, and I've been really pleased with them. They were both thrown into the fire as true freshmen, and really kind of robbed of a true offseason and spring ball, and yet have still continued to work on improvement. And I've been really pleased with the strides they've made.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll have student athletes tomorrow after practice. Thank you, Coach.
Yep.